Sometimes I wonder if I'm the loneliest guy in the world. And of course I'm probably not. It's a big world. But I'm pretty lonely. And I do realize people can be lonely even in the city, but it's still not quite the same. People can feel lonely because they're around people who don't understand them. Still isn't quite the same, but I would rather be alone than be with the wrong people. And so I have been talking with some people recently who might come here and be part of this project, and I want to do it really carefully. Just because you see my videos does not mean you're invited to my home. Some people are a little bit presumptuous. If I do invite people here, there'll be an extreme vetting process for both our protection, to make sure that we have values that are similar, to make sure we're making social agreements, and to make sure that you're fitting into a role here that actually makes sense, that's net profitable, because the survival of the project, the protection of the forest, and the protection of other people in the forest is absolutely critical. If you think that I'm being overly careful, well, I am by most people's standards, but I have a very high goal. I want to be with people who are amazing, who are responsible, who protect each other, and I want us to not be wealthy in the sense that we're rich, but wealthy in terms of having very positive social relationships and having things to do that are actually meaningful in the world. And that's rare. It's hard to find. A lot of people are in jobs that they think are fairly meaningless, and probably are. But I want our work to be directed into a really wide diversity of activities, some of which are wildly profitable in the regular economy, and others of which are wildly profitable because they fit into our values. And they develop a lifestyle that we think is actually sustainable, building a whole new world, a new culture. So I'm going to have to pick very carefully the core team, and then beyond that, as we get things functioning, cleaned up, I'll probably start to feel a little bit better about things, although it's going to be a lot of work for me and anyone joining. It's going to be work to break away from the culture we are in and begin living in a different one. And it's going to be a shock for me to have people in my life again. I was just watching a video about this lady was talking about the massive importance of the need for touch, and not necessarily sexual touch, but even just anything. And she was talking about massage and stuff like that. But I haven't even hugged anybody in the last 5 years except one person who I had specifically requested they not touch me. They were in a very emotional state. And so, it is a person I care about, so it did happen, but it was risky for me. And I am trying to avoid, my primary reason to be so avoidant of that is disease. I don't want to get COVID. And this person had just come off an airplane. So I know that for many people, they think, oh, COVID's a myth. Or, if you think about COVID and want to protect yourself at all, then you're a lackey to the government, and giving you their controls. And it's like, no, it's my controls, it's my body, and I should have the ability to control who gets near me. Now, I don't even like shaking hands, I try and fist bump when I can. I don't even really want to do that. I don't want to touch people, but if I can gather people here and we agree to some level of isolation, then I can hug people again. Because I used to have parties and everybody be very huggy. I like that. Guys can hug each other too. It's not gay. It's just human contact. And this whole video this lady made was just about this massive need we have for human contact. And we're extremely removed from each other. I'm an extreme case of that. So I would like to fix that. And of course I would like other types of intimacy as well. But that's a little too private for this video. And none of your business, probably. So I'm figuring out the process by which I can figure out who makes sense here or doesn't. I don't like the assumption some people have that that they can just come visit. It's not a public location. This is my home, and I'm kind of a freak. So I'm way more selective than most people. You know, I don't sleep with people at random. I never did, actually. I am not against that sort of thing, and I have done a lot of that sort of thing in my life. And there was risk involved, I suppose, that I wouldn't take now. You know, in my 20s and 30s in the city, there was lots of opportunities, and I was a pretty good-looking guy. I actually clean up better and I don't have to look as ugly as I do, but I kind of think it's funny. And I like beards. I think they're funny. And my face seems to be very good at growing them, and I'm not very good at shaving them. Shaving seems like a fucking waste of time. I ain't doing it. So, questions for you are, as you view this channel and as you hear some of my values, and hopefully you've watched quite a few videos if you actually have some delusion that you'll ever be here, what do you see as things that you wouldn't want here? I can mostly hear those if you say them in a polite way, because it's okay if we're not compatible. And I want to help you find fulfillment in creating or joining some community that does fit with you. So it's okay if you mention things that aren't compatible. But don't say like, well, I'd never join a community that has this fucking thing, you stupid dumb fuck. Not interested in that kind of tone, okay? But you could say, well, here's what I wouldn't want. And I can guarantee you 90% of people would not want to live here. I'm remote, right? I'm isolated on purpose. Any group I gather here will be isolated on purpose, except for very carefully done supply runs, although we can also get a lot of stuff delivered. So isolation is actually, I think, useful for the group. It's also useful to retain greater creative and intellectual focus, to remain on task and not be distracted. I remember one time I was employing a local person in the kitchen for a Thanksgiving kind of event. I think we called it a harvest dinner or something. It was actually a lunch, but whatever. And some of the people at it went past the sign that says staff only into the kitchen and start chatting up my kitchen staff. And I didn't like that because they're distracting a person I'm paying to feed them a meal, and they're not there to chat. They're on staff doing their job. And so my point is that it's very easy, if you have a very open community, that we get distracted from our roles. And I'm not anti-fun. I want us to party and have a good time, but not in any ways that damage the functioning of the space. I expect people to take their jobs very seriously. Now, the person in the kitchen was quite polite and chatted with the person, but as I'm seeing this, I'm just like, I'm paying this person to just chat with someone. The person chatting with the person thinks they're making a cultural connection with the person and stuff, and it's like, it's inappropriate. It would be like expecting your waiter to sit down at your table and have a long chat with you because you would like to have a conversation with them. And it's like, no, they're at work. And so the staff here, the residents here, will be at work some of the time. And they will not be available for other residents for random social shit. In other words, it's going to be highly functional and focused. Sounds uptight? Don't come here. I mean, the other question is, what do you like about what my visions are? In fact, that's a more useful thing. And if you're a person who thinks you might want to come here, we'll start commenting your ass off, you know, perhaps make your own videos. That's not necessarily required. But certainly one of the groups I want here is people who want to be on camera, are good at it, and are better at it than I am, and maybe better looking, and maybe better spoken, maybe more well-spoken, I don't know, less chaotic, somehow better than me, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm that great. I'm just lonely, bored, and I'm frustrated with the world enough that I know I have to do something. And sometimes that's lashing out at it. Sometimes that's insulting us all and saying, why are we fucking this whole world over? You know, and sometimes it's coming up with dreams of how we could do things in different ways. because I think we could. So if you are actually a person who can support yourself or can present a business plan for how you're going to survive here, or can crowdfund your own visit, your own time here, and who has the mobility and time to do it, the physical mobility to survive in a place where everything is lumpy trails and difficult, the mobility in terms of being able to leave where you live and travel to another place for ideally 6 months minimum. I guess if people are really willing to contribute something or have a special skill or somehow benefit us enough, they could come for a month, but nobody's going to be coming here for 2 days. You know, that does not work out. That's a disease risk. I can make different parts of the land that are more isolated and almost like a quarantine, and have places where we can even talk at a distance to people who are visiting. So there are many options, and I might need to build a hotel here in a spot down there for visiting family or something. But in general, this is like movies have a closed set, you know. They're a closed set. They don't just allow random people in. You don't bring your friend in, even if you're an actor in the movie. That's a level of control in the space that I think is necessary for security of the people here and also to keep us focused. So, you know, there's lots of options. We could have a place in town, and we can put people up in hotels, and we can you know, get people's needs met, but without compromising the integrity and security of the space. So if you are actually interested, I'm not quite ready yet to say yes to anyone. I am talking with a couple dozen people about options, but what I really have to put in place is a process. And it could be that you need to make a private video, an unlisted video on YouTube, and send a link to me to that of you introducing yourself, and then maybe we'll have a web chat. But more likely I'll have an entire form, or there's actually a system of forms I'm talking with the guy who has it and figuring out some changes to it, and that would become essentially an application form to come here to see if we're compatible for various forms of this project in different parts of the property. So yeah, I want to get from no to yes. We start with no. We start with no fucking way is anybody going to come here. And then we say, are we compatible? Can we create a win-win situation? And unfortunately, economics are a big part of that. You have to somehow be directly increasing the economic viability of the project, or it doesn't work, until I have enough people who are contributing enough, or the channel's making a bunch of money, or channels, or we're making products that we're selling. I could make art and sell it. I haven't been trying to do that, but that's an excellent idea. My art is generally really big. It's hard to ship. And so that is one thing to do. There's many possibilities for success. Once there's enough success, we can have people who have internal jobs. We'll call them internal jobs. And that means you actually get paid by people here to do some things, to make the system function. So even though you're not directly bringing in money from the outside, you're serving a critical goal, like the kitchen, for example. We can certainly do a cooking show. That's great. Very popular, and I have extreme values even when it comes to food. And so that might be a really interesting channel. But we also just need people to actually just do work, get stuff done. And those could be paid positions. But understand, any internal paid position has to be supported by having a bunch of other people bringing in a lot of money from the outside. And another thing that's really important in community settings is everybody has to have enough money to leave. It's really critical, because otherwise you have people who feel trapped, and that sets you up for potential abuse. So think this shit through if you think you want to come here, and look at a bunch of my videos and find out why you might not want to. And you might not like me personally, that's okay. Probably. Well, the initial people have to kind of like me enough to work with me. But you don't have to we don't have to be close, you know. So if you don't like my personal style, or you think you don't because of what you see on video, which is only sort of me, although pretty accurate, you know, you can figure out if you like the project or not, and if you're useful within it. And some of the people I'm talking to right now are very in tune with that. They're like talking about, you know, how can we have sponsors and affiliate marketing, and they're like right on the same page as me of, well, what are the things that we can work on that will create economic viability to benefit us all. And one of the couples I'm talking to, it's a couple. I like couples because they have some of their social needs met right there within their unit. They actually recommended some people that they think might be good here, and for various reasons. And I want to look at their profiles and see if I think that they fit here. I'm going to be kind of particular, and it's almost like a dating process. There are some websites that are for community matching, and I'll be posting more about those. I'm talking with one guy who has one site that I might be recommending to you, and I might even require that everybody who wants to come here use that site and fill it out, because it has very detailed questions to match people and communities up for compatibility. And I really like the level of detail in the questions. I have some confusion about a few of the questions, so I want a couple other options to be added, and the guy seems very open to that. And then I have some interface questions, which I think my browser, I'm using a weird browser, Opera browser, and I also use Microsoft Edge, but I probably have to try it on Chrome, because that's a very popular browser. And so either there's a bug, a big bug, in basic functionality of the site, or I, for some reason, don't understand the site. My response to that is I'm going to make a video of me using it and showing why I'm confused or what doesn't work. And then this guy's going to watch the video, or one of his people, he's got a team, will watch it, and they'll go like, oh, shit, stuff is either broken, or we need to change it so it's more obvious for dumb people like this guy who don't get what they're supposed to do to like find other people or do things. So that's a really great site. I'm not going to say its name on this video, but, well, I will. It's icmatch.com. Try joining that. It's it has some, the questions are the best I've seen. So I might require that everybody fill that stuff out, and that will help us know if we're compatible, and also help me, because different parts of the project, different parts of the land can have different social rules. You know, I mean, there could be places where nobody drinks. You know, if you don't want to be around any alcohol or any drugs, I could have a totally straight edge community in that area. But then understand, if you go and you visit the other places, there might be beer there. So it's not like one or the other is the right way to be. We can accommodate a variety of things. So if you do know of people who you think would be awesome on camera to join me, either at this initial stage where mostly everything's pretty much a mess and doesn't work, and you know, stuff, and they have resources, hopefully, so they can support themselves, or they have or they have ideas for how we can make really amazing projects, whether it's business or art or cool activities, or, you know, just the most amazing people you know. Then send them my videos, and send them this video and say, hey, would you want to be in the forest with this crazy guy with these weird visions of how community and society can be? And most of them will say, no, I'm not interested in that at all. But it could even be people who have their own stuff to promote. They could have their own YouTube channel. They could be an influencer if they have some depth other than just, you know, looking pretty. That's nice. I like prettiness. That's great, but it's not good enough. You got to have depth and want to be part of something really greater than yourself. It has greater social value to serve the world, either locally or in small levels, on individual level, or at bigger levels. Not really interested in political activists. I think that's often not the way I want to go. I do realize politics are very important, but discussing them at random is usually very divisive, And, you know, I do have very strong opinions and wouldn't want somebody here who was an extremist in needing to express their opinions about political matters, even if they agreed with me. I don't think that's the most effective thing I can do. I would rather live by my values, and, you know, like I'm anti, you know, conspicuous consumption. I'm anti most consumption. And so I would rather live my values and share those than argue about candidates or specific political issues or something. I just don't see it as an appropriate platform for that. So, I don't know. But generally speaking, I would rather invite people who are for personal freedom, for free speech, even if we're restricting ours voluntarily because of pragmatic reasons, who are in favor of other people having their own style of being, and you know, not being bigoted against anybody from any country just because they're from that country. People are not their nations. You know, I've had people here from all kinds of nations, and some of them are actually escaping their nation. Should I hold them responsible for the things that their government does? No. And I want to have people here from all over the world. It's fun. It's really great. So, a lot of groups you get involved with, you have to fit in. Well, you have to fit in with this one too, but there's a lot of trivial shit that doesn't matter. And so with a diversity of people, yeah, you might be more attracted to some kinds of ways of being than others. You know, you might be a louder person or more extroverted or more introverted. That shouldn't be a problem. We can have space enough for everybody. Like one of the things people talk about with intentional communities is they're worried that they have to be so intense with so many people all the time. We have to always eat together. We have to have daily meetings and conflict resolution and all this shit. And it's like, I think we can do things in a way that we don't have to do that. I think we can do things in a way that an introverted person that needs a lot of space, and I might be one of those now, after so many years alone, I want my own space to be in, and other people as well can have spaces to just go be with nature, and then they can come and be social at the level they're comfortable with. These are not issues of what's right and wrong. It's creating a space in which we give the opportunity to have options available to you. It makes sense. It seems obvious to me.